Well, hello again. We're in the kitchen. It's Stonehaven Shorts, and I'm Lorianne. And we try and do things just a little out of the ordinary every time we get together. Today, I want to make chive blossom vinegar. Never made it before. I have seen a few recipes using the vinegar in a vinaigrette for salad dressing. And I thought, well, that would be really good over some fresh greens that I have harvested out of our garden. Now the thing is though, it takes about a week, maybe even 2 weeks for the vinegar to emulsify. So what I have done so far is run out into the garden, and I do have sadly, a lot of my chives have gone to blossom. We had a lot of rain here, and I haven't had a chance to get out there and really utilize my garden, let alone weed it. So a lot of them have gone to blossom, thus this little project. So the first thing to do, which I have already done, is give them a good rinse and then let them dry. Upside down, you want to make sure all your little creepy crawlies are out, and even though you think you have a very clean garden, there's always 1 or 2 little creepy crawlies that come out. I'm just going to try a small jar, and because we're just going to get it into the vinegar today, then by the magic of YouTube, I will come in later when it's ready, and then we'll decant it and taste it. So this is about the size of the jar that I am planning to use. And there's a couple of different vinegars you can use. I have already done one with a rice vinegar, and it's been in for just about a week, and you can see how clear it is. It's looking quite nice. So I'm getting excited about that, but this was a rice vinegar, and now I'm going to use a white wine vinegar. I have heard that you can basically use any vinegar if you want, possibly apple cider, maybe, I don't know. This is a very oniony type of flavor, so I'm not sure about that. I'm sure white wine vinegar, or just plain white vinegar would work too, but I thought, hey, this was on sale, let's give it a whirl. So you just pull off the chive blossoms. Now some people have pulled them apart. I find that they're just fine if you just leave them as whole. Now the thing is with the chives, once they blossom, these stems get a little woody, so they're not terribly good for eating. But what I might do is just throw a few into the jar just to give it a little bit more of that chive flavor. So let's see here. And this is how easy it is. Really all you're doing is pulling the chives off, the blossoms off, putting them in a jar, and then you're going to cover it with vinegar. That's it. And let it sit for, oh, that's interesting. Different flowers on the bottom there. And let it sit for about a week. And you could go longer, obviously, for a stronger strength. So I'm gonna try it about 2 weeks. Okay, and I just about got them ready to go in here. Okay, so I got about a half a jar there, about a half a jar. And some of these woody stems, just gonna break them up, throw them in. You know, and some of them, you know, aren't terribly woody. You probably could still chop them up and use them in a casserole or something, but I like my chives when I'm putting them on potatoes, they've got to be pretty tender. So, okay, so there we go. There we have chives and just a few chive blossoms and just a few of the stems. Wow, this is really difficult. For this, the idea is to make sure that all of the blossoms are covered. That's the main thing. After you get them all covered and in, we can stir them with a wooden utensil. I'm going to use a chopstick. You could use a wooden skewer as well, or a tiny little wooden spoon, just to make sure everything is all around. actually looks quite pretty too. Now this it's gonna be put into my pantry for about a week or two, and I will check on it and give it a stir every once in a while as well. And I probably, because I have wooden shelves in my pantry, I will store it on, I have these little plates. I'll store it on a little plate just in case you get some seepage up through the top. And we'll see what that looks like in a couple weeks' time. Chive blossom vinegar. How easy is this so far? It has been about 2 weeks since I started my first batch of chive blossom vinegar, and it is looking quite lovely. Hope that you can see it there. You can see the blossoms on top. It's just a small amount because I've never made it before. Now this one I've done with rice wine vinegar. My second batch I did with white wine vinegar. So the second batch isn't quite ready yet, but this one is. So I'm gonna go ahead and decant this into my cute little vinegar jar that I got at a thrift store. There we go. Okay. Now, oh, does that ever smell lovely? Woo! Okay, so now when I said I was gonna decant, what I forgot is that I really should strain it a little bit. So let me grab some cheesecloth and I'll just do a quick little strain into a cup and then we'll decant it. Okay, here's my cheesecloth and my little cup. I cannot tell you how delightful this smells. I mean, who likes to sniff vinegar? But man, this is incredible. So here we go. All right, just a tiny bit as a trial version. Blossoms are there on top. Let's pull that out. Very clear, very pretty color. Hope everybody can see that. And we'll throw this into our little jar. Oh, look at this, it's just the perfect amount. I was meant to have this jar. Okay, now there we have it, everybody. Chive blossom vinegar. Now the fun doesn't end there. I have all these ingredients here because I have seen a recipe for a chive blossom vinaigrette. Let's get started with that. To make the chive blossom vinaigrette, the recipe that I have is using quite a bit of vinaigrette, mayonnaise and olive oil. I just want a small sampling. So I'm just going to like half this, and recipes in me, if you don't know by now, I just count a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and whatever we like the taste of. The important thing here is that the recipe does call for adding some of the chive blossoms and maybe even some of the green chives in there and then allowing it to soften. I would say that I'm not going to do that because if I'm going to add chives, I'm probably going to add it right into my salad anyways. So really all I'm looking for here is the vinaigrette, just the, the version of it without any of the added things. So the recipe is, we need, now it's calling for 1/4 of a cup of the vinaigrette, or the vinegar. I'm not doing a whole 1/4 of a cup. I might do like 1/8 of a cup, maybe a little bit more because I love the smell. So I'm assuming I'm gonna love the flavor. Plus I have another batch in the making, so I can be a little bit more liberal. So we have that. Then it's asking for mayonnaise. And this is real mayonnaise. You're not using your Miracle Whip or whatever flavored. Sorry. So it's calling for 2 tablespoons. Again, 1 tablespoon is about all I'm putting in. And then we're looking for some lemon juice. It's calling for 1 tablespoon. I will use a 1/2 tablespoon. And again, you know me, I'm just kind of using my eyeball on it all. Honey. Now, 3 teaspoons of honey. Now, I don't have a liquid honey. I have local creamed honey, which I absolutely love. So it's going to take a little bit more vigorous whisking and maybe some shaking, but it's calling for 3 teaspoons. I'm going to go with 1.5. I'm just about out of this jar too. Okay. Salt and pepper, and then some olive oil. Okay, so it says sea salt, which is what I have in here. And again, you can always add more salt or pepper, just to taste. Salt and pepper. And it's asking for a 1/4 cup of olive oil, which is, or sorry, quarter cup, which is about the same amount of vinegar that you've used. So again, I've only used about 1/8 of a cup. My mess here. So let's see if I can get 1/8 of a cup out of this bottle. If not, I do have more. Oh yeah. Just 1/8 of a cup is all I can get. Okay. So then I can always add more later. You know the drill. Dressings are just literally what your taste is like. So you whisk that together. Now, if you were adding any chive blossoms or chopped up chives, then you might want to let it sit for a bit just to soften, but I am not doing that. I'm just going to give this a quick whisk. Now I don't have any fresh lettuce ready to go to dip this in, but I'm just going to use good old finger test. But that's what it looks like. That's the consistency. And if I added more honey, I'm sure they'd be a little thicker, maybe a little bit more mayonnaise. But let's just see what that tastes like, shall we? Oh my, that could be one of my new favorites. People, wow, give that a try. That is simply fantastic. I'm just giving it another shake. You know, when you add mayonnaise and vinegar, you might get a little bit of curdling if you don't have it mixed up so well. But wow, that is fantastic. Oh, here, I'll just take a little off the lid here. Oh, I highly recommend you give this a try, everybody. Now, this was made with rice vinegar. I'm going to try it with a white wine vinegar one, but chive blossom vinegar. Do yourself a favor. Use up those blossoms. Avoid the ordinary. Make yourself some chive blossom vinaigrette. See you again.